moderation of the air mass over the upper Midwest. That being said, there's going to be slight reinforcing cold air that moves in. Ohio Valley, Northeast, we're also seeing that very cold weather. This is what I was talking about, the slightly warmer temperatures. International Falls, 5 degrees this morning, 9 in Duluth. Wind chills now below 0, 8 below 0, International Falls, 7 in Duluth. Chicago waking up the morning, 12 below 0. And here's where our high temperatures will land today, well below freezing for most of us. And that's the way it's going to stay until potentially next week. It's going to be a while, so we have to get through this week, the weekend, and next week we might start to see a true warm up. Detroit, we're looking at our wind chills staying below 0 pretty much throughout the day. Best we can do this afternoon is get up to a wind chill of about 2 below. And here's Thursday morning. So there's that slight reinforcing cold air taking our wind chills. International Falls and Minneapolis close to 20 below 0. By Friday, same deal. International Falls close to 20 below 0. Chicago still waking up 6 below 0. And it's plenty cold for a lot of us in the lower 48. In fact, there's not many of us that are escaping this bitter cold. And that includes in the Northeast, where stepping out the door this morning, Boston, it's 2 below. New York City, it feels like 0. Lots of layers, especially if you're going to be walking between the buildings in Manhattan, where it feels even colder as the wind funnels through.
To warm up, we'll check back with you in just a minute because it's time to look at our cold and flu tracker, and it is pretty widespread here. In 9 states, it is very high, and I've spoken to a couple people that have had this flu, and they were telling me how bad it was. It sounds really intense. One of them had to go to the ER because their temperature was so high. So make sure that you're taking all the proper precautions and washing up and, trying to stay as healthy as possible because we are in that season where everyone, especially when it's cold, is staying indoors, so it's easily transmittable. Because it goes Texas, Florida, Louisiana, thousands of customers without power. This is what's left of the system, and as you saw in Charleston, just a few snowflakes, a few left. This is all you're going to get. We're really on the backside of it. Cold rain into Florida. Spoke to a lot of friends and family yesterday. They were like, Abrams, it was freezing. Jax, the first coast, 33 in rain. That is definitely uncomfortable, and you can see most of the snow is still hanging around the Outer Banks. We've seen reports of snow-covered roads there. And if you look at our current snow cover and you're doing any traveling, you have to still be careful. And I know that I-10 is still shut in some locations, and it's not even necessarily the snow. I want you to watch out for any areas that have melted any of the frozen stuff, and then it's refrozen overnight. So anything that looks glossy, glazy on the road, that could be ice and not water. There's I-10 that is still closed down, and portions of I-55 around Louisiana. You got to be careful even off the highways, because what they do is they treat the big roads first, and then they go to the tertiary roads. Also, I-10 in Florida from mile marker 5 in Escambia County to 70 in Okaloosa County. Everyone just stay home. Black ice is what I was talking about. Also, just a thin layer of freezing rain, and you get some of that black ice, or it's that melted snow that has refrozen overnight, and you're going to get it most on your bridges and your overpasses and areas that are shaded, because on a bridge, you don't have that terra firma to keep everything warm, so it cools off a lot faster. You need a lot more of a braking distance when it's snowy and icy.
Just a little bit and just enough. And temperatures, like take Lafayette, Louisiana, it's only 5 degrees this morning. Things are refreezing, right? And that's going to make travel impossible this morning. Air travel was impossible yesterday for a lot of our airports along the I-10 corridor, had to close down. Cancellations yesterday, 2,300. I would not be surprised to see a number equal to that today, because everywhere that you see in red, the airports are closed. Deep snowpack that it's going to make it difficult for people to even get to the airport to start the reopening process, much less anyone that might have a flight. It's impossible to get there. Jacksonville, expect to see some delays and closures as we get into the second half of the day, even as things start to warm up. Rain, the southern half of Florida, and that could cause some delays as well, despite the fact that we're not seeing any of the wintry weather. Now, the current snow cover It's sticking around for a minute because temperatures, this is what we're dealing with this morning. And I mentioned Lafayette, you can almost pick that out in the temperature contour colors because the deeper the snowpack is, and we really saw that in South Central Louisiana, the colder your temperatures are going to be. 24 in New Orleans and also 24 for you in Charleston. And that's where we find meteorologist Jordan Steele. Schools are closed this morning. The airport is closed. But Jordan, I think you said it's a remote learning day, so we don't really get a true snow day here in Charleston.
I know.
What a bummer.
Yeah, but you know what? Usually on those learning days,
giving us cold air and giving us significant wind chills, while wind in the west is actually warming the air because the direction that it's coming from and coming down the mountains, that's actually a heating mechanism. And we still have red flag warnings and still several fires that are raging here into Southern California. We do have critical fire weather today into tomorrow as well. And our winds in and around San Diego, anywhere from, say, 10 to 20 miles an hour, especially at those higher peaks for us. And around Los Angeles, we are still seeing Malibu gusting to 24 miles an hour. That offshore wind continues not only today, but into tomorrow. That is a drying wind. That's a warming wind for us. And it's a strong wind that could blow some of these embers around for us here. And unfortunately, it does last for the next 2 days. It stays hot. It stays dry. And we do have a little saving grace. Notice how that onshore flow happens on Saturday morning. That gives us some moisture and some cooler temperatures. And so there is the possibility of some light rain this weekend. The one issue that we have is now all those mountainsides are barren. So you have to now worry about if the rain is too heavy and slides happening down those mountains.